Hi there, this is Patricia from patriciafenty.com, and today I have a granny square pattern for you. It's called a Tea Rose Granny Square, and I did make this to go along with another tutorial that I have on the Gypsy Rose Granny Square, and I'll put a link to that below. Now this is a pretty simple pattern, so let's get started. All right. Now the yarn that I'm using for the first round is this Lion brand Touch of Alpaca. It's a number 4 medium weight yarn, and it has 10% alpaca and 90% acrylic. It's a really lovely yarn. I quite like it. And the color for this is cream, 98 cream. And I'm using a 4mm crochet hook, which is a G6 in US, and you'll need scissors, and later on you'll need a darning needle. So we'll start the first row with a slip knot. And now if you're new to crochet, I do have a beginner crochet series, and I'll put a link to that below. And it'll show you all you need to know to make this granny square. Now get your tension set up and chain 5. And then you're going to create a ring by going into the top post of your beginning chain, yarn over, bring your yarn through both loops, creating a slip knot. Now you'll chain 3, and this will count as a first double crochet. And then you're going to do 15 double crochets into the center ring. So yarn over, put your hook through the loop, bring your yarn from behind, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And again, yarn over through 2 loops and through 2 loops, and you'll do 15 all together. So we'll see you on the other side. All right, so this is my 15th double crochet and 1 chain 3. So you're going to join this round by doing a slip stitch into the 3rd stitch of your beginning chain 3, going under 2 posts. So you have a total of 16 stitches all the way around. So you'll join that with a slip stitch and then a chain 1 to fasten off. And that's the end of row 1. Okay, for the next round, I'm using the Patons Canadiana. This is 100% acrylic yarn, a number 4 weight, and this is medium teal. It's a really pretty color. So joining on the next row, we're going to start with a slip knot. There's different ways to join on your rows, but this is the way I do it. Put the yarn on your hook, keeping your tail to the right, and I always like to join in the stitch before where I fasten off so I can crochet in my tail ends wherever I can. So put your hook through a space between the double crochets, grab your yarn from behind, flip the tail over, and do a slip stitch. And that's a nice secure way to join your yarn. And now we're going to do a mini puff stitch. So you want to pull that loop up maybe a 1/2 inch or so, yarn over, go back into that same space, pull your yarn through and pull it up, and then do that again and pull that up on your hook so you have 5 loops on your hook, and yarn over, and you're going to pull the yarn through all 5 loops. And this yarn has a loose ply, so I've caught a bit of the ply. There we go. So it can be a little tricky to pull that through without catching some strands. And now chain 1, and now we'll work into the next space. So yarn over, put your hook into the space, bring it through so you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, go through the space again, bring it through so you have 5 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through all 5 loops. And again, I caught a ply. Oh dear. There we go. Okay, and then chain 1. And we'll do one more. So yarn over, put your hook through the space, pull your yarn through, pull it up, yarn over, bring your yarn through and pull it up. So you'll have 5 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 5 loops. And do a chain 1, and you're going to repeat that all the way around, so you'll have 16 puff stitches when you're done. So here we are at the last stitch, and you're going to join on into the puff stitch. You'll see this is sort of the long edge of your beginning puff stitch, and then there's a chain right on the top. You want to go into that chain on top with a slip stitch to join this round, and then chain 1 to fasten off. And that is your second row. Now for round 3, I'm back to the Lion Brand Touch of Alpaca, and this color is blush rose. It's a very pretty color. So we'll join on again with a slip knot and joining that into the space just before where I fastened off, so I can crochet in my tails. Put your yarn on your hook, and you're going to join in the chain 1 space, and just join on as before. Bring your yarn from behind, flip your tail over, and do a slip stitch. Now we're going to do a cluster. So you'll start with a chain 2 and tucking the tails in behind there. So yarn over and put your hook through that chain 1 space, bring your yarn through as if you're going to do a double crochet, but you're just going to pull through 2 stitches and leave 2 loops on your hook. And we'll do that again, yarn over as if you're doing a double crochet, and you're just going to complete part of the double crochet. Now in this case, you have 3 loops on your hook. Normally you'll have 4, but because this is our beginning, this chain 2 counts as your first cluster. So you'll just have 3 loops on your hook this time, and you yarn over and go through all 3 loops, and then chain 2. And now we're going to do the regular puff stitch, and you'll be doing this all the way around. So working into the next chain 1 space, start a double crochet, and then just complete part of the double crochet, yarn over as if you're doing another crochet, yarn over, pull through just 2 loops. So you've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, bring it through one more time, and just do part of the double crochet. And now you'll have 4 loops on your hook. Then you'll do a yarn over and pull through all 4 loops, and then chain 2. And so I'll do it one more time. So yarn over, going into the next chain 1 space, start a double crochet, pull your yarn through, and just do the first part, go through 2 stitches, yarn over, do another double crochet, and again just pull through the 2 stitches. You have 3 loops on your hook. Repeat this again, yarn over, bring the yarn through the first 2 loops. You'll have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through all 4 loops, and then chain 2. So you'll repeat that all the way around, and you'll have 16 altogether. Now coming to the end of this row, you're going to join this row in the 3rd stitch. Even though you did a chain 2, you're going to fasten off into the 3rd chain of this beginning cluster, and just do a slip stitch and chain 1 to fasten off. All right, so starting row 4, you're going to join on your new color, the teal color, into a chain 2 space with a slip stitch as before. And we'll be working always into the chain 2 spaces. And so start with a chain 2, and that counts as your first half double crochet. And then you're going to do 2 more half double crochets into the chain 2 space. So you yarn over and pull the yarn through all 3 loops. Yarn over into the space, and yarn over and pull your yarn through all 3 loops. Just like that. And now we're going to work a corner, and working into the next chain 2 space. There's no chain 1 in between these clusters, so yarn over and do 2 double crochets. So, and another double crochet, and then we're going to do a treble crochet. So yarn over twice, go into the chain 2 space, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over through 2 loops, and that's a treble. Then chain 2 and do another treble into that chain 2 space. So yarn over through 2 loops, yarn over through 2 loops, and yarn over through 2 loops. And then you're going to work 2 more double crochets into that same chain 2 space. And this will be your corner, and you'll create each corner in the same way all the way around. And again, we're not doing a chain 1, we're just going into the next chain 2 space and work a set of 3 half double crochets, doing a cluster of 3 half double crochets. And then going into the next chain 2 space, you're just going to work 2 single crochets. And so we're creating the flat side. And then you're going to do another set of 3 half double crochets into that next chain 2 space. Just like that. And that's your pattern repeat. So now you work another corner and repeat this pattern all the way around. So I will see you on the other side. Okay, welcome back. So I've worked all the way around and I've just come out of the last corner and I've done my cluster of 3 half double crochets. So all I have left to do is the 2 single crochets into the last chain 2 space. And I'm going to show you a different way to fasten off. We're not going to fasten off as usual. We're going to create an invisible join. So just cut your yarn off and pull that yarn through your loop. And then you're going to take your darning needle and thread that on. And essentially we're going to create a stitch to mimic these top stitches here. So you want to look for your beginning chain 2, there's 1, 2 stitches, and there's a V stitch there in the second stitch. So you're going to come in to the back, going underneath the 2 posts of that V stitch, and pull your yarn through. And then you want to sort of mimic the tension of the stitch, and you want to come back down into that last stitch, into the middle of the V stitch, go into the middle and come out the back of your work. And you want to sort of mimic the tension of your stitch work and make it nice and even and to match your other stitches, just like that. So that's your joining stitch. And then what that does is it creates a nice even finish without a knot, because the next row is going to be done a little differently. So you can just darn your end in here. And you want to do this kind of carefully so that you're keeping the tension of that stitch even to the best of your ability. And then you can just snip that off. You can see I've been crocheting my tail's ends, so I just have this one to darn in. So there you go. All right, for the last round, I'm using the Touch of Alpaca again, and this color is Purple Aster. So we're going to join on in the same way by creating a slip knot. And in this case, you don't want to join on where you did your invisible stitch there. Join on in another place on any straight edge. And for this round, we're going to be working in the back row, right into this back post here. So you can see here where you have your V stitches along the top, there's your front post and a back post. We're going to work into the back post only, except for in the corners. So you join on with a slip stitch as before. And there we go. And you can crochet your tails in if you like. So you chain 2 to start. It looks like it'll pull that stitch up, but that will all fall into place nicely once you start crocheting. So now you're going to do a half double crochet into the back post of the next stitch. So yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And then work a half double crochet into the back post of the next stitch. And you're going to do this all the way along until you get to the next corner, working into the back post only of each stitch. And as you come into the corner, this is your treble crochet, and you want to make sure to catch the last stitch at the top of that treble crochet. Make sure to catch that last stitch before the corner. And then working into the chain 2 space, you're going to do a half double crochet, a double crochet, and a half double crochet. And you'll do this the same in each corner. And then when you come out of the corner, you want to make sure to catch that first stitch coming out of the corner. And then you're just going to work half double crochets all the way along. So carry on working all the way around and working your corners in the same way as shown before, and I'll see you on the other side. All right, so here I am coming to the last stitch at the end of this round, finishing up with my last half double crochet. And now we're going to finish this in the same way as we did the previous row. So I've already cut my end. So you're going to pull that through, and then you're going to thread the yarn onto your needle, and then you have your beginning chain 2, and you're looking for the second stitch there and going in through the back underneath those 2 V stitches of your beginning chain 2, and bring the yarn through, and again trying to mimic the tension of that stitch. And then going into the last stitch here, it's a little hard to see because of the color, but you can see that V stitch there from the previous stitch, and you're going to go down right in the middle of that V stitch and come out the back of your work. And just snug that up, again making it look like all the others. And you can't even see that, so that's instead of having a knot. So here we go, and you can darn in all your tails, and isn't that a lovely pattern? I think it's just so pretty. So you can block this if you like. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more inspiring and creative videos. Thank you for joining me.